Welcome, everybody, to episode 20 of the Harrison Brinker Show. This is going to be a fun one. This is a good episode. I'm going to talk about things that I like. You know what I don't like, though? Did you guys see this? Taylor Swift was at the Chiefs game the other day when they played the Saints. She was wearing glitter on her face, like freckles, and a plaid top. Very tacky, Taylor, very tacky. But enough about that. I don't want to talk about things that bother me. Today's the episode about things I like. So I talked to you about going to Skankfest in Vegas, and then Colin joins, and we just talk about different things that we enjoy. So if you're looking forward to that, looking forward for a fun episode, this one's going to be a little treat for you. And that's all. We'll see you all in a second. Enjoy! Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Harrison Brinker Show. This is episode 19. Before we go any further... Wait, no, this is episode 20. Hey, episode 20. Episode 19 was last week. Sorry, everybody. Before we go any further, I just want to say that next week will be the last episode of Season 1. I've said it before, but I'll say it again for everyone who missed it. Next episode is going to be the last episode of Season 1. So don't fret, this show's not gone. It'll take a little bit of a hiatus while I move back to Pennsylvania, and I need some time to buy some equipment. I have to wait till I get back home to buy it. I guess I could buy it now on Amazon and just ship it there, but I'm not going to do that because I quit my job, so I don't really have a ton of money to start assuming how much I'll have in a month. I have a road trip coming up that'll cost me a lot more than I think. I also have to ship a lot of my stuff back home, back to Pennsylvania. Yes, I'm moving back in with my parents. It's just a temporary thing, I swear to God. I hate it just as much as you do. I'm aware of how stupid it is to move back with your parents, but they live there and that's where I'm moving, so it's kind of perfect. Anyway, I'm going to buy some equipment. I've said it before. I'm going to set up like a nice real deal studio or whatever you want to call it. No green screen behind me anymore. We're going to get an actual TV, an actual desk, an actual microphone. These are all virtual things. I'm standing up in front of a green screen. These are all fake. This is fake. I was hoping that would... Oh, there. That sounds better. Anyway, so that'll be next week. I don't know why I thought it'd be cooler to do 21 episodes than 20. But I did. And so this is the second to last episode, and I think this is going to be a fun one, so let's get that stuff out of the way. Just keep in mind after next week, and I'll remind you again, after next week, we're going to have a little bit of a break. But we'll be back, and we'll be doing episodes just as often as we're doing them now, and they're going to look and sound and feel a whole lot better, because I'll be comfortable screaming in my parents' basement while they're away at work, and I'm in their basement being a 24-year-old child who graduated college and moved back home. Anyway. Usually this is the part of the episode where I'll tell you all about my week, but today's episode, I'm going to tell you, the whole episode's going to be about my whole week, so, there's not really much to say other than the big thing I did since recording the last episode, so without any further ado, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen, Skankfest of 2024, yes, I went. I got the 3-day pass. I saw everything fun. I have a little slideshow for you. I have some stories for you. So we'll make this intro short, and let's just get right into the fun stuff.
He's Joseph Lupino. Oh my God.
Run.
Skankfest, baby. I can't get my finger under this tab. You know how much I love sweet tea. Let's get a sip here. How you guys doing? I usually record these episodes Monday, but today's Tuesday. I just got back from Las Vegas yesterday, and my voice was a little shot, and I was a little sleepy. I hadn't gotten any sleep all weekend, so yesterday I just came home and took it easy. I'm trying to think of how I should tell this. Should I just tell it in the exact order? Should I only talk about the comedian stuff? Let's see. I wrote a handful of notes here of what to talk about, but they're all out of order in which they happened, but I'll use them just as a backup. Let's see what I can think of. So, Skankfest, for those of you who don't know, is a comedy festival that for the last few years has been in Vegas. This was my first year going to it, but it's run by Louis J. Gomez and Rebecca and Christine. I don't know their last names, but I guess I think they run comedy clubs. There's something about the Creek and the Cave, I think, is what they're from. So Louis wants to start a comedy festival and says, let's get the corporate crap out of it. Let's just run it by comedians. For comedians, it's going to be a fun one. And I like these podcasts. Louis J. Gomez, it's called Skankfest because he has a podcast, Legion of Skanks, blah, blah, blah. For those of you who don't know. And if you don't know, then I'm happy you're watching, but you're going to have to just bear with me here. Because I assume if you're watching this that you have some sort of idea what a comedy festival is at the very least. So Louis J. Gomez starts this comedy festival, and this year it was in Las Vegas. I live about 2 hours outside of Vegas, so I was like, well, this is perfect. I'll go there. So I get a 3-day pass. Me and my buddy, my friend Jason, who you've seen on the show before, we both agreed we wanted to go. So he's in New York right now, but he flew down to see it. So we meet up. I get there Thursday, and I get in the hotel, and there's a VIP Thursday night bar meetup for everyone. I got the VIP tickets, and the comedians were going there and stuff. It was a pre-party for the show. I didn't have the VIP pass, so I just took my 3-day pass, threw it on, and just went up to the bar. I didn't think I was going to be able to get in, but I asked around, and I was like, hey, maybe I could sneak in, whatever. So everyone's lined up for this bar. Everyone that had the VIP show passes is in line for the bar, but I'm not in line because I didn't get the VIP pass. And I'm like one of 5 people that are even there outside of the line. I was very surprised that there weren't more people that were just going up there to hang out and see, because surprisingly or unsurprisingly, once I got up there, the comedians obviously don't have to stand in line. So all the comedians that were there were just hanging out outside a line with me. Not with me, but next to me. Maybe I can pull a picture up here. Let me see it. I have a slideshow for you guys, and I'm going to be flying by the seat of my pants here. Here's the hotel I stayed at. Cool picture I took of them. Here's the first picture I took of the whole trip. This shoe right here in between those legs, that's Big J. Okerson's shoe, everybody. Yep, that's how close I was to him. Next thing I know, Mr. Louis Gomez is walking up, and he's standing. How do I get this here? That's him. That's the guy who started the festival, so didn't say hello to him. But I got a secret picture of him. I gave him knuckles. Let's see. And then, so I'm up there, and then all of a sudden you just see all these comedians walk up. So Bert Kreischer was doing a show in Las Vegas. He walks up. And the funny thing about these comedians is, like, I'm no fan of Bert Kreischer. But then you see him in person, and it's hard not to be like, that is pretty cool. That is the guy. I mean, I'm not my cup of tea, but hey, it's Bert Kreischer. I mean, what are you gonna say? And then every time a comedian would come up, I mean, they would get recognized and stuff, but no one really bothered them. But then all of a sudden, you just hear like, like the crowd chanting, and up the escalator comes Mr. Shane Gillis himself, a Mechanicsburg native. I grew up about 19 minutes away from him, so I pretend like we're from the same town. So Shane Gillis comes up, and everybody's, Shane, Shane, Shane. And I don't use this phrase a lot, but seeing this guy in person, built like a brick shithouse. I mean, he's huge. He's only like 2 inches taller than me, but he's just like this big, fat fucking guy, freaking guy. But he seems like a sweetheart. He was a nice fella. Didn't say to hi to him either, although I had a perfect in. Hey, we have the same rival high school. Anyway. Let's go through some pictures here, though. These are all out of order, also, so bear with me. But this was just a cool setup, a cool marquee. Skankfest, let the magic begin. Here's some. I don't know if there's a caricature or what you would call it, but there's Shane Gillis on the body of a dog with a hat that says beer. I won't go through everybody. You get the idea. Just posters. I mean, I didn't design them. There's, of course, those 2 pictures I showed you. Friday morning, they were doing what was called the Skank Walk. The show started at noon, but at 11, the three guys from the Legion of Skanks, Dave Smith, Big J. Okerson, and Louis J. Gomez, gathered at the one end of Fremont Street in Vegas and walked to the other end where the festival is being taken place and was taking place. And anyway, these are terrible pictures. I got them. I didn't get them expecting to put them onto the show, but since I have them, I'll show them off. So here's Lewis, and here's Dave. There they are again. A lot of crippled people there. That was cool. This was waiting for a Shane Gillis show. So then, yeah, you go upstairs, or you go up to the festival, the actual complex, and it's like 4 or 5 different theaters, like spread around this whole complex. So you'd have to wait in line for like 2 hours. For the shows, and finally me and Jason get into the Shane Gillis show. Shane was only on the schedule for Friday, so we knew we wanted to see him, and here's the show. That's how close we were. Not super close, but I mean, pretty intimate. I mean, we're only like 20 feet from the stage. There's, of course, Mr. Shane Gillis. As I said, he's built like a big fat guy. He's huge, and he's got, of course, his Bud Light there, because he's Shane. Right, so that was cool. We just saw him perform for 15 minutes. He's got a nice pair of Nikes on. This is Friday night. Every night, the goddamn comedy jam with Josh Adam Meyers performed songs. Here's Joe List from Tuesdays with Stories. One of my favorites. Everybody. Maybe one day we'll get him on the show. Here's Big J. Okerson's hat. I guess that might not be cool for everyone at home. That's just looking at pictures, and I'm like, no, you had to be there. Here's just a fun video of Joe List before he performs a song. I think he sang, he sang Even Flow. I didn't get that one, but he sang another one. I'll show you in a second. But here's just him dancing. Actually, real quick, I might have to change something with the audio. Give me a second here, everybody. Okay, I'm back, everybody. I think I figured it out. That was just Joe List doing a little dance there. Here's him singing a song, and like I said, I got these just more for my own sake. I didn't plan on filming this all for to put onto the show. I guess I should have, but so these are just tiny clips. This isn't like him singing the entire song, but it was still fun nonetheless. The scary thing about this, so this was Friday, and I just knew that the comedians were going to be singing songs. I thought that sounded fun. What I didn't realize is that the people in the crowd were moshing, and I wanted to get front row so I could see my buddy Joe List, my new best friend. I didn't know I was going to get sandwiched between 2 truck drivers, you know what I mean? I got wined and dined and 69'd and almost exploded being squeezed between all these people. But it was fun. And then here comes, what's his name? Bert Kreischer. He's hidden behind here. So here's the comedians that ended up there at the end of the night. This is just night 1, so it wasn't too packed with all these comics. But this is Josh Adam Meyers, the blonde-haired fella. There's Big J. Okerson, Joe List, Bert Kreischer's there. Joe DeRosa, everybody loves him from Better Call Saul. Of course, he's the veterinarian who introduces Saul to the world of crime. Thanks a lot, Joe. So that was fun. I got 3 pictures of that, I guess. Here's a video. I hope it's just not a picture of some guy's rear end. Am I right, everybody? What's this? Oh, yes. They ended, of course, by singing Bohemian Rhapsody. That's all you get for that, I guess. I just wanted to remind myself what songs they were singing. There's Colin Terrell, or Colum, Brendan Sagalow over there. These guys right here. See this fella? This guy with the mustachio? This is a guy in a group. These 2 guys right here, actually, they're right next to each other. These guys right here, Palmer Squares. That's their name of their band or rap group or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Can you call rappers a band? These guys were freaking good. I've never heard of them before, but they were performing every night at Skankfest, and these guys were sweet. So look them up on Instagram. Their music is pretty good, and they're good performers. They're white rappers, so that's already, tough. The Beastie Boys, though, I love. But it's fine. I mean, maybe I just sound like a super white idiot listening to rap, but the words, each song of theirs was like 6 minutes long, and they're singing every word. I'm like, how do you keep, I know you wrote this, but I'm impressed you can keep all this in your head. Here's just more pictures. There's Cam Patterson from Kill Tony. Right? That's cool. This is day 2. Mr. Luis Gomez is doing coke magic, where he does cocaine and does magic. This is Jeff Dye. I'm just going to skip through these pretty quick. Here's Ari Shaffir. Funny story about Mr. Ari Shaffir. Let's get a zoom in on him. So, I don't know. I mentioned Kill Tony with Cam Patterson. So, Kill Tony was doing an arena show on Wednesday in Vegas, and I guess Tony Hinchcliffe was on the lineup, and Red Band was on the lineup, and all the Kill Tony regulars were on the lineup for Skankfest. But there was a show on the schedule Friday night, the first night of the festival, just labeled Secret Show at 8 o'clock. And everybody gets in line. And Jason and I are at dinner at the time while people are lining up for this. And I got a beer, and he had gotten like a Moscow Mule, and he was sipping on his a little slower than I was chugging the beer. So I finished my beer, and I was like, I'm going to go back out and just check out what's going on. And while I'm outside, I hear people saying something, Kill Tony, Kill Tony. And I was like, oh, no way. Kill Tony's going to be this secret show. So I go back in to tell Jason, like, hey, I think we should try to get in this line. I think it's going to be Kill Tony. And then he's like, okay, let me finish this. So I go back outside, and I walk up to the front of the line, just trying to check out, like, what we're working with. Maybe someone up there will tell me, like, this is for sure Kill Tony, because that would be cool to see, right? And the lines are so packed, and the spaces are so tight up there. While I'm at the front of the line, or, like, you know, I'm probably 50 people back, but I'm trying to make my way up to the front of the line, and there's people coming out of a show. So as they're coming out, I kind of huddle into the line just to give them space. And the people just don't stop coming. They don't stop. This is never ending. They're just letting out this entire building. They have to clear the whole building out before they let anyone from Kill Tony in, because they're not allowed to record or anything. And it's a secret show, and the line's super long. So, like, look, we're not going to let anyone just hang out in a building just because you just saw a show that ends at 8. We have a show starting at 8. We need to make sure the room's cleared so no one can just hang out here. Anyway, so I huddle into the line, and about 2 minutes passes, maybe a minute, whatever. Enough time passes, though, where I'm still just in this line, and these people are passing me, that once these people finally pass me, I just stood in the line. This is me being a bad moral person. I have no morals. But I just stayed in the line, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a couple minutes just to see what happens. See if anyone yells at me for cutting into this line, because I absolutely just cut into this line. And then this is 8 o'clock at night, so everyone's pretty drunk, except for me. I'm sober as a judge. And I hear the people in front of me talking and just making comments, joking around. So then I join in, and I start saying, like, yeah, you won't believe how hot it is back where I live. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I thought this was bad, blah, blah. I don't know what I said, but the guys in front of me are laughing like we're having a conversation. So I was like, okay, I think I won them over. And I don't want to turn around to the people behind me because they know for sure that I just cut in line. Although I will say, I am pretty sure I picked a terrible spot to cut. I think it wasn't like, oh, I was in front of a group of 2 and behind a group of 5. I think I cut into the middle of a group of 7. So I think it was very obvious that I cut in line because I think everyone was friends and I just kind of jumped in the middle. Anyway, after a couple minutes, I text Jason and I say, Jason, Mr. Jason, get up to the front of this line. I'm up here. Just don't say anything, but we can get into this show. So he just walks up inconspicuously and just joins in with me, and we kind of start bull crapping. And you might be thinking, Harrison, didn't you say something about not being able to have your phone in? How are you texting Jason? That's an excellent question. I had forgotten that the first time I went out in line, that there was a woman going up and down the line bringing out yonder bags that you have to put your phone and lock your phone in. I had seen it when I first went out, and then when I cut into the line, because that wasn't my intention, I didn't even consider what I'm going to do with my phone. So Jason and I are like kind of going, oh crap, like we're at the front of this line. There's no way if we go all the way to the end of the line to get the yonder bags that we're going to be able to get into this theater. There was already a show earlier that day that we had missed. So we didn't want to lose our spot in line that we worked so hard for. And I had a fanny pack because I'm a gay, and was like, you know what, just throw it in the fanny pack. Let's just pretend we don't even have our phones. We'll get right in. So finally the line starts moving. We get up to the front. And the security, before the line moves, the security says, everybody hold your phone up in the air in the bag. I'm like, oh, great. Now there's 2 of us side by side that don't even have, like, now we can't have the phone not in the air. But whatever, it's going to be cool. The line starts moving. Jason gets in front of me, and when he gets up to security, it's so loud I can't hear what he says, but I just see that they pat him down and they let him in. So I'm like, oh, great. Whatever he told them must have been genius. So I just go up and I tell them the truth. I said, I never got a yonder bag. They were kind of like, all right. And then they pat my front, pat my behind, and I don't know if it would have mattered or not, but my fanny pack, I didn't do this on purpose, but it wasn't like around my waist. It was like up above where my belt would be. So they just felt my butt cheeks, but they didn't feel the fanny pack, and they just let me in. So I feel like if they would have felt the fanny pack, they would have gone, well, what's in there? And I would have gone, oh, sorry, an Apple Watch and 2 iPhones. Anyway, they let us right in. They let me in. I go up to Jason, and I just say, like, hey, I'll celebrate when we get inside. Like, I'm not going to look like an idiot the second we pass security. Go, dude, I can't believe we tricked them. So we play it cool. But like I said, that was just the door for the outside. Once you actually get in the building, there's like 3 different theaters. So once we get up to the actual theater door, now they're checking again. They're going, where's your phone? And Jason, I think what Jason had said was just, my friend's already in there with mine. Because he doesn't have a fanny pack or anything. And I do. So I'm like, well, what am I going to say? So I was like, well, I already tried this. Then it worked. So I just said, I never got one. And then the lady's kind of like, oh my God. Like, those sons of bitches that I hired to give the bags out keeps forgetting to give them to people. These innocent young men. So they just pat me down and let me in. But they do say, like, hey, make sure you know where these 2 guys are sitting. So some lady had to escort us in while we were in the show. Whatever. She gave us great seats. That's the first part of the story. Blah, blah, blah. Kill Tony starts. It's a great episode. I won't spoil it for everyone. Actually, yes, I will. Ari Shaffir and Jim Norton were the hosts. I'm only saying this because this will come out before Kill Tony comes out. And if you hear this story, then when you see Kill Tony's episode come out with Jim Norton and Ari Shaffir, you'll know to say, oh, that's the one Harrison was at. And you're going to want to watch it. Because at the end of it, and it ran like a regular Kill Tony. The regulars were there. Hans Kim, Cam Patterson, Casey Rocket. At the end of the show, Ari Shaffir is squirming in his seat. And Tony Hinchcliffe goes, Ari, what are you doing over there? And Ari goes, sorry, Tony, I really got to take a piss. And he stands up and he pulls out his penis and he starts peeing into an empty coffee cup. And as he's doing this, a woman comes out, a naked woman comes out with a big cardboard sheet. And I'm thinking, like, is she about to, guard Ari? I'm not trying to sit here and sound like, oh my God, don't cover it up. We all want to see his penis. But it's just like, it would have been surprising if they did that, given the debauchery and the degenerates at this festival. I'd just be surprised if they're like, hey, you can't see a penis. But they don't hold it in front of them. They just throw it onto the ground. It's just a tarp on top of a piece of cardboard. And Ari's peeing into this cup. And finally, the cup fills up and he stops. And he sets the cup down and picks up an empty White Claw and finishes into that. Not finishes, you know what I mean, pees. And then he grabs another White Claw and a third empty vessel to pee into. Ha 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 ha. Everyone's laughing. I can't believe I just saw a man go pee-pee on stage. Everyone's laughing, and then Ari takes off his shirt. And then he takes off his underwear and takes his pants off. And he's just standing nude on the stage now. And everyone's thinking, what is this animal doing? Is this just a way to be like, hey, look what you can get away with at Skankfest? Like, everyone's kind of like, woo! Just in terms of the overall attitude of like, yeah, you know what? F it. Just get naked, dude. This place is fun. You're not at Madison Square Garden. You can do whatever you want. Then he stands over top of the tarp and he bends down and he's squatting over top of it. And now we know what's coming next, which is that Ari Shaffir took a shit on a stage. And I was there to see it. And I saw it come out of his butt. And then he picked up a pair of latex gloves and started picking up the pieces of poop, which was scary because I was very much certain, or I was keeping in mind that if anyone's going to grab a piece of shit and throw it into an audience, it's going to be Ari Shaffir. So I was scared. I was ready to run away. Maybe on the episode of Kill Tony, if this even comes out, they'll show it. They'll show the audience reaction because it was crazy. He didn't throw the shit into the crowd, though. He took out a piece of paper, unfolded it, and held it up that said on it, Ari Shaffir's Netflix special coming out in, December. Whenever it's coming out, I'm not sure. So it was all a big advertisement for Ari Shaffir's new Netflix special. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I saw a grown man, take a piss, take a shit on a stage, and it was the greatest commercial I've ever seen. Of course, at the time, I was disgusted. I'm not saying I don't find it funny, like, I don't find that funny, that's below me. But it was like, no one was laughing. Everyone was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But also keeping in mind, this is going to be an iconic moment, at least in these circles, and it's cool that I was there for that. So yes, I saw a man take a shit. So that's Ari Shaffir for you, everybody. Who else we got? Oh, I'll show you that later. So that was Friday. I kind of got ahead of myself there. Like I said, I'm telling this all out of order. Saturday morning, I go to see Joe List. He made a documentary about his friend Tom Dustin, a comedian from Boston who now lives in Key West. Joe List made a documentary about him. I was first in line for the show, or one of 5 people on the front of the line for the show, right next to some hotties. That was fun, too. When I first got my badge for Skankfest, I saw these 2 girls walking down Fremont Street, and I was like, hey, that's Vegas. You get to see hot babes. To my surprise, they followed me all the way up to the tent where we're getting our badges, and now I've got 2 hot girls behind me. I'm thinking, these are 2 hot girls. I acknowledge they were 2 hot girls. I thought they were just tourists. There's no freaking way these women are going to Skankfest. They got 3-day passes. I saw them. I was talking to them for the entire rest of the weekend. It was incredible. I sit with them next to the Joe List, I sat next to them at the Joe List thing. Let me pull something up real quick. At the Joe List documentary screening, and while Joe List was getting the movie ready, he was asking, like, hey, was anyone there at Kill Tony yesterday? I heard Ari Shaffir took a shit on the stage. And I said, yeah, I was there at Kill Tony. So then he had asked me, like, hey, could you explain what happened? We got a little lag here, I think. Hey, can you explain what happened? So since I was in the front of the stage, I got to tell everybody that, yes, Ari Shaffir took a dump, and it was terrifying. Where is this? Jim Norton. Joe List pictures. Sorry, I'm not showing you yet. Okay, here's something for you. Here's something. So this is on Joe List's Instagram, right? He's saying, hey, day 2 of Skankfest. Here's me and my friends. There's Tom Dustin. There's Brendan Sagalow. Look at that. That's me. That's me next to those 2 hotties. I'm sitting like an idiot. That's what I look like in public, if you're ever curious. Yeah, those girls were cool. And I think I'm in another picture here somewhere. Blah, blah, blah. There's Mark Norman, Nick DiPaolo. Here's me again. That's just my hat. Do you believe me? I swear to God, that's me. I'm wearing a green shirt and hat. So that was cool, right, guys? Where is this? Whoa. If I have to cut some of this out, bear with me, because I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. Okay, sorry. So that was just another fun thing. I was at a picture in Joe List's Instagram. Another fun thing I saw Saturday, Dr. Drew was on the Legion of Skanks podcast. They did a live podcast with Sam Hyde, and I don't remember this guy's name, Brian or something. Sam Hyde's buddy, Dr. Drew. And then Lewis was asking Dr. Drew to give him a prostate exam, but Dr. Drew said, I can't give you a prostate exam. I'm not licensed in the state of Nevada. I could be sued. And Lewis said, all right, does anyone in the audience, is anyone here a doctor in Nevada? And this girl went up. And they said, okay, what do you practice? What medicine do you practice? She goes, I'm not actually a doctor, but I'll stick my finger in your ass. And that's what this is. So here's just a short little clip for you of a man getting a prostate exam from a random woman in the crowd with Dr. Drew giving her assistance.
Yeah, dude, she's fucking wrist deep right now, man. Hey, can you feel James' future up there?
Debauchery, degeneracy, this is all disgusting. This isn't even Skankfest. This is just on the way back to my hotel room. Here's just women boxing. That's kind of cool. I think there was midget wrestling earlier. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that's the name of the event, midget wrestling. Sorry. I'm going on pretty long here. I guess I could talk about this all week. What do I have? Let me just go through my notes. I'll fast forward through these pictures quick. This is just Skankfest logo. Here's Bert Kreischer, Robert Kelly, Keith Robinson, Jim Norton, Bert Kreischer, Rich Voss, and Joe DeRosa all doing a podcast. Ari Shaffir joined at the end. There's just a picture of that. Here's Mark Norman and Joe List. I saw them hanging out. I guess Bert Kreischer's in the background of that picture too. What else? Here's a live Tuesdays with Stories, one of my favorite podcasts. I've talked about it before on the show. Mark Norman, Joe List. Right. Here's them pretending to have sex with each other. Asking what's a gayer way to have gay sex? Is it gayer to do it doggy style or missionary with your legs up in the air? Because either way, it seems gay. There's just a picture of the pass. If you wanted to print one of those out and sneak in, you could have done that a couple days ago. Here's Dave Attell performing. Here's Tim Dillon performing. Here's Crack Amico singing a rap. He does like diss tracks. Here's those Palmer Squares guys. Right. Sabotage with Sam Tripoli. I don't know if I like Sam Tripoli. You know what you did, Sam Tripoli. You know what you did. Oh, there's just my thumb. And again, they ended with Bohemian Rhapsody. But this was the last night. This was Sunday night, so they had all the comedians up on the stage. Although, all the ones that were in the front, I had no idea who they were. I mean, here's Brian Holtzman. There's Kim Congdon. There's Lewis. So yeah. So that was Skankfest. That's me walking you through at least each picture. I guess I have probably 3 hours worth of stories to talk about. So let's see what I have here. Cold room. The room Jason and I stayed in. Jason had the room set to 65 degrees. It was awful. And I liked the cold, but that was brutal. I'm pretty sure those hot girls I was sitting next to at the Joe List show, I'm pretty sure they had sex with Lewis after I heard him flirting with them twice. And I went up to go talk to them at the end because I was going to say my goodbyes because I just had said hello to them back and forth throughout the show. So I was going to say one last goodbye. And before I did, Lewis walked up to them and asked where they were staying. They said, I heard earlier them talking to another guy where he was like, I can't believe you guys have boyfriends and they left you alone. And they were like, oh, yeah, they just don't really like comedy. So that was the first I had heard of it. So I was like, oh, yeah, they have boyfriends, whatever. Although, side note, that guy talking to them was a douchebag. And I saw him following them around the entire festival where it's like, hey, man, they talk to me, too. I don't feel the need of, like, being a puppy dog and be like, so do you guys want, like, would you finally want to have sex with me? Like, I don't want to have to beg for a woman to want to hang out with me. But that guy had no problem with it. Anyway, when I saw them talking to Lewis, I was like, don't they have boyfriends? And then I went, oh, of course they don't have boyfriends. They were just saying that so they wouldn't be annoyed. They were literally the two hottest girls at the festival. They were alone. They would have been hassled all day if they didn't tell people they had boyfriends. A girl ditched me. I was waiting in line, and I started talking to this girl for Tuesdays with Stories. We were waiting in line for like 2 hours, and we were getting along well. And then when we both get into the theater, you know, it's just pick your own seats. But she's like, do you mind if I sit next to you? I was like, yeah, no problem. And then halfway through the show, she just gets up and leaves. Joe DeRosa got screwed up the ass, I wrote down here. I'm sure that'll come out eventually. I think he's gay. The mosh pit, seeing Bert Kreischer, hating a guy until you see him in real life. Yeah, that was kind of funny, like I talked about. It's weird. Like, I'm no fan of Bert Kreischer, but then in real life, it's like, oh, that's the machine. Here's a fun one. I'll save that for the end. I spent $150 at the casino and lost it all. I spent $500 on beer and food. The valet, I had a valet at my hotel room, and I had to go pick up Jason from the airport. I checked into the hotel at like 3, but I had to pick up Jason from the Vegas airport at like 10 o'clock. So when I left, when the guy pulled my car around for me to go to the airport, I gave him a $5 tip. And then on the way back, the guy was like, hey, thanks a lot, man. Hey, you need anything tonight, you let me know. So I assume he means drugs, because like, what does he mean? Hey, man, can you bring me up some new pillows to my room? Anyway, I just thought that was a funny amount of money to tip a valet for him to be like, damn, I owe you everything tonight. You know what I mean? $5. I need drugs. I think the only other funny story I had was Friday. This is the last one. I know this has gone on for like half an hour. Friday morning, Jason and I, before we went to the Skank Walk, we went and got breakfast together. And I just wanted to get Chick-fil-A. I just wanted something quick. I was ready for a weekend of just being a piece of crap, so I didn't want anything crazy. But Jason's like, well, let's go get brunch. So I was already kind of just like, okay, yeah, let's get brunch, I guess. That's cool. And then we get in there, and there's like 4 people ahead of us, like waiting. I think it was at least 3 groups of people, but it's like, 7 people all together ready to eat in front of us. So it was just like, all right, what are we doing here? And then I see so then finally we check in and whatever. We're sitting, waiting to get a table. And as we're waiting, there's people walking by, waiters, with like plates of gourmet French toast. So I just said to Jason, like, I hope this doesn't cost us like $1,000. And then he said to me, well, that's Vegas. So from the rest of the trip on, I was just like, okay, all right, yeah, okay, all right, okay. So we have our food. It was, I think it was $400 for a BLT. And then the next day, instead of going to get breakfast, I just went to Walgreens and I bought a sleeve of Hostess donuts and a box of 6 Nature Valley granola bars, and you know what? I made those last for 2 days. So I went 2 days without eating anything, or other than a sleeve of donuts and 6 granola bars, just to prove that just because you're in Vegas doesn't mean you have to spend a lot of money on food. You know where, hey, we're in Vegas. You know what costs the same in Vegas as it costs everywhere else? Chick-fil-A. Donuts. I don't need a maitre d' to bring me a freaking filet mignon for breakfast just because I'm on vacation. I ain't on vacation, man. I live 2 hours away from here. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it was just fun to completely embrace being a piece of crap, being a degenerate. The people were drinking and smoking inside and doing drugs in the lines. Like, I don't need a mimosa. And I'm not that kind of person to drink, smoke, and, do drugs in line. But I wanted to enjoy it for just one weekend. So I took the whole weekend to not sleep and not eat just to prove, that's what you do when you're in this kind of environment. And that's what I did. So I didn't eat, which was perfect because then I didn't have to go to the bathroom. So that was cool. So I got to stand in lines longer. And when I did, okay, yes, I did have to go to the bathroom sometimes, but it was so quick because I hadn't eaten any food that I could pretend to people that were holding my spot in line that it was just a pee-pee. It was perfect. So I guess my point is I had a heck of a lot of fun. If you like comedy, if you know all these comedians, like I think there was 150 comedians on the lineup. I am big fans of about 15 of them, but I know about 100 of them. So it was very cool to just see these guys go to this festival, and this is the first festival I'd ever been to. The only other shows I've seen are just like small club shows with Mark Norman, Joe List, Nick Mullen, Bill Burr. Well, not Bill Burr. I saw him in an arena. But it's not intimate. Like, at least here, I got to see Joe List walk by 15 times, and I said hi to Mark Norman, and I talked to Ari Shaffir. I bumped into him and asked him, like, hey, was there any part of you that wanted to take a dump on this, or take that dump and throw it in the crowd? And he was like, yeah, I did, but I restrained myself and just threw the toilet paper. I was like, well, thank you for that. So you get to talk to these people. I mean, I don't know if they appreciate it or not, but you can get your pictures, you can get your autographs. It was just a cool environment, and everyone in line, like, they're all degenerates. Like I said, they're all smoking crack. I think we literally saw a guy smoking crack. So, like, normally I wouldn't interact with these people, these walks of life, but we're all waiting in line for a weird podcast that I found 5 years ago that has, like, under 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and, like, Tuesdays with Stories is what I'm talking about. Like, normally you don't bump into people in real life that know this stuff, but now you're all in one. Everyone from across the country is all in one venue to go see this show or these shows. So you have no problem bumping into someone in line and then being like, hey, you like Joe List? I like Joe List. Let's talk about that. We got 2 hours to kill before the show starts. So it was a very fun environment. And I got this shirt, and I spent literally $500 on beer and food and water. At least that's what my credit card says. I don't know what else I put money on, I guess. So it must have been beer, food, and water. And this shirt. But I had a heck of a lot of fun. I picked a bad time to quit my job, but it was kind of because I don't have any money. But it was nice to come home and just decompose and not have to turn right back around Monday morning and get to work. Like, I kind of just had the day to chill, and now I have the rest of the month to chill. And that, I think, is everything that I have to say about Skankfest. So if you want to go do that with me next year, let me know, and we'll hang out. And maybe you know what, before I say goodbye, this is me saying this, maybe 1 year, maybe you'll see me on the Skankfest stage. You might be saying, Harrison, don't they just save that for comedians? And I'm thinking, I think I could tell some jokes. I think I could.
Hey, he just stole my wallet. Don't worry, mister. I'll get your wallet.
Sweet, $2.
It's not your wallet!
I took up a lot of your time explaining Skankfest, so I have no small rant for this week. It was just to go through what I did at Skankfest. This is a little fun episode, second to last episode of the season, just to talk about my week. I always complain on the show. I never get to say something I like, and that was something I really liked. But all I can say is, like I said, just a reminder that next episode will be the last of the season. We're going to have a little bit of a break. If you want to go over to the Patreon, currently there's not a ton on there. Episodes come out a week early on the Patreon if you want to see them in advance, but obviously by the time this comes out and you hear it, the only episode that'll be on there early is next week's episode 21. If you're watching this the day it comes out, you can go over to the Patreon and see that a week early. I think it's $1 a month. If you want to give me $1 a month. And I think some of the full-length interviews are on there from the earlier episodes of this show where I did the longer interviews and I would trim them down. The completely unedited ones are on there. Just smaller moments from the show. I usually edit down the funniest parts and put them in these episodes, but the whole things are up there for you to see for $1 a month. And obviously that'll go for as long as this show goes, which I hope is forever. So even though there's going to be like a month-long break, yeah, there's probably not going to be much on there for the next month. But if you want to help finance this show, you can pay $1 or even up to as much as you want. Become a producer on the show, get your name in the credits, and just be a nice guy and say, hey, I like this show. Here's $1 a month. Go buy yourself a new microphone. So if that's something you're interested in, subscribe to the Patreon. If you're cheap and you don't want to do that, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. And the videos are coming out anyway, so that's all I have, just a bit of an advertisement. And other than that, guys, I think you know what time it is. It's time for Colin Blair to join us and sit and talk. And let's hear what Colin Blair has to say. All right? How about that? Colin Blair, everybody. Hello?
We're here with Mr. Colin Blair.
Please welcome our pal Colin. Please welcome Colin.
I'm here with Colin.
Hello, honey.
I was always going to talk movies with Colin.
I better brush my teeth. Colin's here.
To this day, I still have a good relationship with Colin.
Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Colin.
Congrats on your engagement to Colin.
Here with an editorial, my good friend Colin.
Hey, Joseph, it's Colin.
Oh, my cousin. Oh, Colin's on the show. Oh, I better freshen up. Colin's here. Oh.
One of the greatest, nicest, best ever.
Welcome back, everybody, to the interview portion. Of course, we're joined by Mr. Colin Blair. No one other than Colin Blair, as always, as you're used to. Thank you for joining, Colin. How are you doing?
Pretty good. You caught me in quite the good mood because
well, perfect.
Yep. Well, I just witnessed one of the best baseball games of my lifetime, maybe the best sporting event of my lifetime.
Well, as we're recording, this comes out 2 weeks after we recorded, of course, but this was the Mets-Phillies series,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Game
And this
two?
was what, Game 4? Game 2?
Game 2 of the Mets. Yeah, so by the time this comes out, that series will be over. So I could be extremely depressed by the time this hits YouTube. But right now, I'm levitating, baby.
Yeah, cherish it.
Yep.
Well, good. Use that energy. We're going to try something new. Everybody who watched the beginning part of this show, I talked about going to Skankfest and how much fun I had. And it was just kind of nice to finally talk about something I enjoyed for once. Usually this show is just me rambling about things that bother me. And for once in my life, once a year, I usually indulge and try to enjoy what I'm doing. And so you caught me in quite the good mood, too. So today's interview, we're just going to be talking about things we like. But I'll let you start. Maybe you didn't have this prepared, maybe, whatever. I don't know what goes on in your head. But talk about the Phillies game. What was that like? You're in a pleased mood.
Yeah, that fits right in. The first thing I want to say is baseball. I like watching baseball. Or sport, yeah, just in general, any sport. But like the way I watch baseball or any sport is definitely not a healthy way to do it. Because I put my whole mood is dependent on it, and it's like my entire emotional well-being is just in the hands of these group of men I don't know. Like that's how I watch it. But
well, luckily they're the best of the best. I mean, you could be putting them in worse hands.
I don't even know. I wouldn't say that. Like watching the Philadelphia teams in my case, I mean, it's a lot of misery. But this is such a good night for me to talk about it because tonight, the high I get tonight makes all the misery I felt totally worth it. I'm like, okay, this is why I care. This is why I care so much. This feeling right now.
And it's good because the Eagles didn't play today, and we all know how that would have ended had they.
Oh yes, I know.
Had to go against somebody.
I
know. Well, that's great for you. The Bills lost, but I'm gonna I'm gonna push through. It's a couple flukes. I'm not gonna focus on that right now. I want to be happy for you. And this once a year, I'll sympathize with somebody. And today, that person is you.
Well, I'm curious, like, how do you take it, like, if you watch a Bills, like, if the Bills lose a playoff game or something?
Well, luckily for me, I haven't watched football in almost a year since I worked on the weekends, and this was my first weekend back. But I think I'm used to it. I want the Bills to do well, but they are notorious for doing poorly. Same with Penn State games, like Penn State posts I see. They're like, oh, we're undefeated. I'm like, this is every year. We're undefeated for the first 6 games, and then we play an important game and we lose. Yeah, I mean, I wish I was more into sports. Because, yeah, when I watch them, I'm usually just like, okay, next, what's next? Put on Sopranos. But that's not me dissing anybody, because that's how my old roommate Jason, that's how he is with the Chiefs. Like, if they lose, it's you're not going to talk to him for 3 days. So I understand, but that's not really, that's not how I am.
Well, I guess I know how you are, because I was there. I was at Penn State when the Bills lost a playoff game, and I know what you do. You pulled up karaoke and you karaoke a sad song.
I sang a song about it. Yeah, as long as I have music at my side, I can get all my emotions out through there. I don't have to bottle them up.
That's how you do it.
It's train in vain. Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Bills didn't stand by me. No, not at all.
Yeah.
So I get it out through the power of music. Yeah.
You didn't stand by me. No, not at all. You didn't stand by me. No, Bill.
So even at my lowest, I can turn it into something happy. That's something people don't see on this show often. Don't give them any wrong ideas here. We're trying to get an audience. Just kidding. No, that's how I handle it. I usually just make a joke about it. I'm trying to. The whole show's about things that make me bad. I was about to go into our old routine here of just getting bothered, but let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's only focus on the good. How games make you feel. Do we hate the Mets? What's happening? Or only because you're playing the Phillies, or do you actually hate the Mets?
Well, yeah, like the Mets and Phillies, that's like a long rivalry. So I mean, that's
sort
of So that goes into why this game is so awesome. Like I hate every person on the Mets. I hate everything about them.
Syndergaard, that's all I got. Jacob DeGrom. That's all I know.
I don't think they're not on the Mets anymore. But yeah, I know.
Okay, well, that's all you need to know.
It means more. Means more is the point, like beating the Mets. Yeah. And of course, I want Jerry Seinfeld to be upset. So that also goes.
Now, so what is this for now? The series will be over in 2 weeks, and then what? Now they're in. Let's say they win this series. Enlighten me. I don't know. I don't follow baseball very much.
So right now, this is the National League Division Series. So if they win this, they go into the National League Championship Series, and that series, if you win, you go to the World Series. So
okay. Mm-hmm. So it could be good. Now, weren't they in the World Series last year? Did they happen to win? Did they happen to lose? What's going on?
Year before 2022, they were in the World Series. Last year, they should. I mean, last year was a total heartbreak, total meltdown.
Don't focus on that.
They were 1 win away from the World Series, but yeah, like. Yeah, I don't even like to think about it. That was, I mean, yeah, seriously, last year when they lost the game to go to the World Series, like I just question why I watch sports in that type of game. I'm like, this is so stupid.
Well, you had baseball at the top of your list. Is baseball your number one sport, or are you being carried away by this limitation you're feeling?
I mean, it wasn't for a long time. Like, it was definitely just only basketball.
Right.
But I mean, recently, like the past few years, I think it's become baseball. Like, I'm a total baseball guy now. I don't know what it is about it. Like, I can just sit and watch an entire baseball game. I just love the whole experience of watching a baseball game. It just fits me perfect, I think.
I think once I move back to Pennsylvania, of course they don't allow sports betting in Utah. Once I'm back in Pennsylvania, I'll be back into the whole paying attention to sports and the actual players. Like, I was talking to a guy yesterday at dinner. I went out with some friends. And he's like, who's on your fantasy team? I was like, honestly, I have no idea. I've got no clue. I just let it ride. But once I can actually start betting, I mean, I'm talking 10 cents a game here. But once I can do that, then I'll actually be like, Pirates, arr, come on, let's play baseball. And that I'm looking forward to. Of course, baseball season will be soon over. But the WNBA is usually always got a game going on, and cricket, whatever. I can bet on something. I want to be back in sports. Right now, I've just been focusing on nothing. I haven't done anything to occupy my time.
I know, because like my niece was recently born, and like I really am trying to make her grow up and be a Philadelphia sports fan, which is a bad thing to do, but it's funny. Like I'm thinking, like I'm offering you the opportunity to be happy once every maybe 2 decades, but it will be extremely worth it when you are happy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm jealous of the passionate fans. Like you see, Grease the Poles and all those memes that come out of it, and you're like, hey, after all the being stuck in the gutter and getting kicked while you're down, when you finally do something right, you really get to explode. It's not like half-assed Buffalo Bills fan where they win the best game of the year, and I'm just like, okay, so they win? All right, great, what's for dinner? So I'm jealous.
Yeah. I like that guy at the restaurant we saw once when we spoiled the game for him. He clearly wasn't a diehard fan if he wasn't watching. He's out of date.
Right, yeah, we weren't diehard fans that we were watching.
Yes.
What's his
Yeah,
excuse?
we were paying attention. He wasn't.
Well, I'm going to take a change of pace here. You said baseball. I'm going to go with another one of America's pastimes. Actually, maybe it's not a change of pace. Deviled eggs. I'm a big fan of deviled eggs.
I wasn't expecting this.
I used to eat them a lot as a kid. In fact, I would boil my own eggs. I would make the yolk mixture myself. You have to use real mayonnaise, none of this Miracle Whip bullshit. And, of course, some paprika. And deviled eggs I could eat all day. They look like little baseballs, so maybe that's something we could bond over. Berry bond over. And they're at cookouts, and that's about it. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about deviled eggs. I'm also trying to get my niece to like deviled eggs. I'm hoping that she'll take a liking to those, too, and maybe that's something we could have in common. Hard for 23-year-old men and 6-year-old girls to have anything to talk about, but maybe if we both share the same finger foods, we'll get the conversation started.
Well, would you believe me if I said I've never had a deviled egg in my entire life?
I would believe you. That
Okay.
You seem like the kind of guy that would stay away from that sort of thing, and I'm just here to tell you. Have you ever had a hard-boiled egg?
Yes.
Let me ask you that. All right. Now imagine that, but a little better.
Okay, I'm in. You can but explain. I mean, I seriously. I mean, what is in a deviled egg? Break it down for me.
It's I can't tell. I honestly couldn't tell you, and I know the answer. I just really don't want to. It's a secret. It's just kidding, everybody at home. It's a hard-boiled egg, and then you take the yolk out, and you mix it with a little bit of mustard and mayonnaise, and that's all it is. So it's just yolk, mustard, mayonnaise mixed together, and then you take a little garbage bag and spew it back into the egg white, sprinkle it with a little paprika, which is just for show. Paprika doesn't really have much of a taste. That's what makes it so exciting, is it looks like it'll be spicy, but it really isn't. It really goes down easy. You can eat the whole thing in one bite. You could swallow it whole for all I care. And you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. But yeah, that's what's inside a deviled egg.
Okay, is that something you make like every now and then, or often, or what?
I actually no. As a kid, I would make them a lot because something was wrong with me. Now I really haven't had one in a very long time. But I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I saw these British guys eating deviled eggs for the first time. I guess that's not a delicacy over there in England, and they were ravaging or raving about how great it was. And I was like, you know what? That takes me back. I haven't had a deviled egg in a fortnight, however long that is, and. Yeah, it got me thinking.
Well, what do you mean? You say you made them as a kid. Like, what do you mean? How old?
11.
So you're just making deviled eggs when you're 11? Is that normal? Do people do that?
Probably not. No. I think I don't know of anyone that's made a deviled egg. I know people that eat them at parties. I'm not sure who brings them to the parties. I think it's one of those, those Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy type of deals where it's just like they're just around.
Yeah,
I've never met anyone. Yeah, they're just
they
there.
disappear on the trays at parties. No one knows what.
But I figured out the recipe, and I started making them myself. But it is a hassle, and that's the problem with them. Is if you're just an 11-year-old kid, it's like you can really only make like one, because as good as they are, you know how crazy you'd have to be to eat like 6 hard-boiled eggs. You'd be shitting up a storm. So you got to take it easy with them. But that's the one downside to deviled eggs is you can't overdo it, or you'll be paying for it later.
Okay. I'm convinced. I'm convinced.
We'll try one on the road trip.
Yes. Okay. Good thinking.
Into the perfect deviled egg spot.
Maybe people can comment across the country. Where's the best spot to get a deviled egg? But okay, well that was a funny one. Now I feel bad because mine isn't funny. But I like going to Goodwill. I think we both can agree on that one.
I got this jacket at Goodwill. This is a Mercedes-Benz custom jacket windbreaker. I don't want to steal the spotlight here. Please go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't know not much more to say. I mean, there's nothing better than going through secondhand stuff. It just in general doesn't have to just be clothes. It can literally be anything. Like I could just be in Goodwill for hours just looking around.
Right.
And I think I think you feel the same way, do you not?
No, I feel exactly the same way. The suit I bought that I wore at my college graduation was entirely built up of Goodwill finds. You find DVDs and VHSs there. Yeah, there's always something good. I always get something good. Half the outfits I've worn on the show are from Goodwill. The jean jackets, this jacket, the list goes on. Yeah, and we've shared many moments at the Goodwill. In fact, the suit I was talking about, we bought together in your hometown.
Yeah, that was your last time. Was that when you were here visiting for the last time? You just bought that suit?
Oh, wait, no, that was before. That might have been spring break. And then the last time we were there, I got the Lloyd Christmas Dumb and Dumber jacket. I finally found it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most insane thing that's ever happened. You just found that jacket for what, $5?
Yeah, and I've been looking for it for probably 6 years. I was like, it's a London fog, like greenish gray, dark jacket. I need an extra large. And I've been looking for it, and then found them before, but they're like $60 off the rack. But we went into Goodwill, and I was like, if I see this, I'm buying it. And I found it, and I bought it.
I know, and the poor guy that turned it into Goodwill had no idea what he was giving them.
Yeah, the costume designer from Dumb and Dumber who handed it in. Yeah, who knows? Maybe this is the one from the film. And we found when one of our cousins we hang out with, we found matching green giant jackets. That's one of our best finds ever. I have a picture of that. Okay. I'll pull it up on the screen for the video. I have a picture of myself in it. Yeah, it was like these weird bowling league jackets that we found, and they were all matching with the name embroidered on the front of them. We all got our own. Mm-hmm. We found that old rotary telephone. That's been a prop in many of our films.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, Goodwill. You never know what you're gonna get, but you know you're gonna get something good. Let's just say that.
I know. The last time I was there, I think I got the 1960s Batman on VHS. And again, that's nothing I'll ever watch, obviously. But it's just like, obviously I need to buy this.
Right.
And you were with me when I bought it.
I found some records there before. There was this one Andy Williams song I had heard that was sampled in a Beyonce album. And in fact, I was going to say that a lot of the music I find is just samples from raps, and that's how I feel going into Goodwill. It's like you just get kind of thrown at you these weird old songs, and you can turn it into something cool. You get this old weird jacket, and all of a sudden you're wearing it on the Harrison Brinker show. The guy that wore this every single day, he's got no idea, the life it's lived on to. But I heard this Andy Williams song, and Can't Get Used to Losing You or something like that. It was something like that. And I knew the album, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to find this. I don't feel like finding it on eBay. I'm not going to find it at a record store. But if anywhere is going to have it, it's going to be Goodwill. And there's 2 Goodwills in my hometown. And I went to the first one. They had nothing. I was flipping through records. And trying to find a specific album at Goodwill is like, you'd have an easier time finding Colin at a deviled egg factory. But I went to the second Goodwill, And I was flipping through the records, and probably like the very bottom of the stack. I don't want to say it was the last one. That would be unbelievable. But the very bottom of the stack, I picked it up, and it was the exact Andy Williams album I was looking for, and I still have it today. In fact,
wow.
If you talk for at some point when it's back to you, I'll find it and pull it out. Okay. But yeah, Goodwill's great.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could talk for hours about Goodwill, but I won't for the sake of time.
Thank you.
Well, it's your turn, right?
Oh, yes. I like female bands.
Oh, yes.
I don't know any of them by name, of course, because I'm a sexist. Sorry. I like them all, though. Because I like a lot of, like, punk music, and not necessarily like, she was a girl from Birmingham. But just like, hey, F you kind of music. And for whatever reason, when it's a girl, a woman, a female band, and they're the ones saying, like, hey, F you, it just makes it better. Amel and the Sniffers, I love. Sleater Kinney. Now, the music necessarily isn't F you, but it's just like just female-only band. They're doing their own thing. They're not doing, like, pop music. They could go the Taylor Swift route and just be like, hey, we're female singers. We could be Sabrina Carpenter. But they're just like, no, we just like weird indie pop punk.
Courtney Barnett.
Courtney Barnett is a great example, and lately I've been listening a lot to the band The Last Dinner Party. I think I turned you onto them, or at least showed you their music, and that's just like all like 6 girls from England or some dump over there, and they only have 1 album out now, but the whole album is just perfect. They've got that song Sinner, Nothing Matters, Caesar on the TV screen, of course, is the first one I heard, and I fell in love with this band. And I can't wait for them to tour in America and come out with another album. I don't know why I care that they're touring. I'm not going to go see them. But the first album was so good. Every single song on it's great. And that's all.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you mentioned this. Because, like every time I hear that type of music, like I guess that's how you describe it. Yeah, like a rock indie, but a girl singing it. Like I always think like this is your type of song. And yeah, like Courtney Barnett is the perfect, because you showed me Courtney Barnett. And like that's just a cool person, and that fits you exactly. Or the way, like when I hear that type of music, I think, okay, this is a Harrison song.
I'm flattered. Courtney Barnett, everybody that doesn't know, is an Australian woman who happens to be a lesbian. That plays no effect on the music. But she just does like very stream of consciousness. She doesn't use a pick; she just finger picks, which is also a plus for her for whatever reason. It's like, oh, you really know how to play the guitar. And she's just got a very unique sound. And some of her, it's not for everybody. Like she just talks about like, I was laying in bed and I looked up at the ceiling and there was cracks in my walls. So if that's not your thing, you're not going to like it. Of course, it's not your thing. But if it is your thing, check her out. Yeah, Courtney Barnett's great. And we use it in the Colin Blair intro, just a snippet of it. But the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, I mean, I wouldn't call them necessarily punk FU. Maybe I would, I don't know. But they're just a great band. And that's not like an all-female band, but the female lead singer, whom I don't know the name of. The Yeah Yeah Yeahs are great.
Yeah, because because you showed me, the first Courtney Barnett song you showed me was Elevator Operator, I think. I mean that's such a perfect song to intro her to me. Like I love, that's one of my favorite songs ever. I'm trying to think, and then there's Wet Leg. Does that fit in your category?
Wet Leg is in there.
Yeah, Wet Leg. Yeah, Supermarket. You showed me Supermarket by Wet Leg. Like that's one of my favorite songs.
Please I look for this album.
But yeah, like that type of music, like I think you got me into that also, like those type of songs. And like for an example, like I found a song, the Snail Mail song Thinning.
Oh yeah.
Like when I heard that song for the first time, I thought, okay, I feel like this is a Harrison type song. So I sent it to you.
Right.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, like that's a good example for everybody. Like when I hear that type of music, like okay, I know Harrison's gonna like the song. It just fits. It fits you and your taste perfectly, I think.
And I'm thinning out. Yeah. And I like playing guitar. So when I hear songs like that, it's like, oh, I could learn this. So when I hear a song that I try to learn and I can't do it because it's so hard, like Thinning by Snail Mail, it doubles the impressiveness to me, where I'm like, oh, these people really know what they're doing. Like Nirvana's fun. I mean, I couldn't come up with a Nirvana riff, but Nirvana riffs are not hard to learn on the guitar. So then when you hear a riff that's like, I couldn't even come up with this, let alone I can't even learn it, let alone come up with it. It just adds another layer to like, oh, this is a really good band.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're no Oasis. They're not like guys, but it's a plus.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And
that
Sir
was a
Chloe.
joke. Oh, and Sir Chloe.
Sir Chloe, another one.
I know. I should have made a list of all of them.
I guess, I mean, we probably talked about this, but did you know about them already before we saw them in concert?
No, I only knew about them because they were on the lineup for the Alt J concert.
Okay. Yeah,
so Sir Chloe opened for Alt J. I think we talked about this before. Sir Chloe opened for Alt J, and we quickly fell in love. And they've had multiple albums come out now, and all their songs are also great. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a sexual thing or whatever it is with any of these female-led bands, that it's just like, I don't know. It just makes it just adds a level of like, this is really good. Maybe it is because I'm sexist or secretly sexist, and I go into it thinking it's going to be bad. But it's hardly ever is. Bikini Kill, what's her name? Catherine Hanna or something like that. Then went on to Le Tigre. I'm trying to show off here, but I ran out of things to talk about. But just to prove that I'm not sexist, not show off.
But I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, like when I listen, like those type of songs in my playlist, like the Courtney Barnett songs or whatever the case may be. Like I feel like those songs are like a step above everything else.
Yeah.
And for like the female voice, I don't know. I agree, something about it just is better. It just sounds better to me.
And maybe it's like, I mean, I'm joking about being a sexist, but like maybe it's so used to like punk music being like these British guys, or maybe not even British, but like you got the Ramones, you got the Sex Pistols, like early replacements, where like that's Fugazi, where it's a guy thing to be like, hey, F you. But then when a girl does it, it's like, it just, I guess I've said adds another level, but maybe because, oh, you really care. Like you like this kind of music and this is really how you feel so much that you can't help but make music out of it. Like I feel like it's easier for a guy to fake his way into just being like a punk singer. And it's harder for a woman to do that for whatever reason. So when they do it and they do it well, it's like, it just seems more authentic, which I appreciate. I don't know. I'm coming up with it now, but
I was going to say like, I've never thought about why. I just say, hey, it sounds cool. But I mean, that sounds right what you said.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, I don't listen to every song and think about it that way, but if I had to put it into words, maybe that's why. But no, of course, like even a song like Thinning, like you said, like I don't think anything when I listen to it other than this is just a good song to the point where I want to try to learn it on guitar and then I'm embarrassed that I can't. This is the Andy Williams album, by the way, everybody. Nice. Andy Williams' Greatest Hits. I found this at the Goodwill. It's got exactly what I want. What's it called? Can't Get Used to Losing You. Check it out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Please, Colin, back to you.
All right. I feel bad. I mean, you have good ones. I mean, these are lame. We can spend more time on yours. I have long drives. I like taking long drives.
Well, you're in for a treat. Everybody that doesn't know what's happening in this next couple of weeks, I'm moving back to Pennsylvania. Colin's coming out to join me for the drive, and we're turning a 3-day trip into 8 days. So let's put his money where his mouth is and see if he can.
I know. I know. I say this, but I mean, I've never driven more than 5 hours. So I guess we're going to really find out in a couple of weeks if I do like long drives or not.
Yeah.
But
I think it'll be a good start because at least you'll have a buddy there along the way. Now, hopefully you don't get sick of me, but we'll really know how it feels when you have an 8-day trip alone by yourself.
But yeah, I guess the point is like, I don't consider like a 2 or even a 3-hour drive. I don't consider that a long drive. Like I will happily hop in the car and drive somewhere that's 3 hours away. Like that's fine with me. You know what I mean? Like I don't. It doesn't click in my mind like, oh no, wait, I'm not doing that. That's going to be an entire day. Like no, I'll do that. Like that's fine. I don't know. So, but I just like, I just like being in the car by myself and listening to music and enjoying the drive. I don't know.
I'm not that way.
Oh, okay.
But this isn't the time to disagree with each other. I mean, it certainly doesn't make me mad. But like when I look forward to the trip we're about to take, and not that you're not saying this, but I'm just like, hey, 8 days to just chill out with Colin, just talk smack, just talk shop, see what's going on. We're going to see all these different places. And like I said, it's not to say that that's not how you're going into it either. But like I lived I won't say where because I'm moving back there, but my hometown is about 2 hours away from Penn State, and it was every once in a while I'd have to drive back and forth between school and home, and I hated it. It was just highway, but I'm like, even just like it was less than 2 hours, and I'm like, this sucks. I mean, I'll throw a podcast on, but I guess I could do that here. But that's not to rag on it, of course. This isn't the episode to talk smack. This is the episode to enjoy it. It's just to say that cherish that feeling because not everyone is like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know that's not normal. But I guess, what do you hate specifically? Like, you just hate not doing anything for that long period of time? Like, you need to be
I don't
occupied?
like being stuck.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's claustrophobia or whatever, where it's like, if I'm in the car for too long, I just get paranoid about, like, I don't have any control over what can happen. I'm in a weird place, and if I have to go to the hospital, what am I going to do? Now, that's also psychotic. I'm not going to say that you're not normal for liking car rides, and I'm normal because I'm thinking about having a heart attack at 23 years old. I'm just saying that feeling, completely takes me over. I'm not going to get into my mental health here, but that would be the main reason why I don't like long car rides. But of course, the road trip, I'm very much looking forward to have someone else in the car and just be able to BS and throw music on and just talk about that. Like,
okay.
But it's easier to have an excuse to say, let's hang out for 8 days because we have to drive. I don't know how easy it would be to convince you, like, hey, Colin, take the week off work. That way we can just sit in your basement and listen to music for 8 days. We'd enjoy the same conversations, but one of them would seem way worse.
So you think, like, me being in the car, like, you don't get that claustrophobic type feeling then if you have someone in there with you?
No, because if something terrible happened, I trust that you'd be able to sort it out.
Well, not me, but somebody.
Yeah, Colin's the expert in Lincoln, Nebraska. Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I already explained what happened when my battery died. So clearly, I'm not the person to solve problems.
Well, at least we could put our heads together. You can talk me out of it. That happened one time. I was driving to Ohio with Jason to see my sister, and you get on Route 80, and it just says, like, stay on this road for 140 miles, and I had, like, my first panic attack ever. Now, granted, this was, like, 7 in the morning, and I had 2 cups of coffee and a Red Bull in hand, so that probably had something to do with it. But for whatever reason, that was just like, I felt like it'd get out where it's just, like, he falls back. I just had that feeling of, like, oh, wait, I'm stuck. I have to either turn around or go to my sister, and either way, it's 3 more hours.
Yeah,
so
I remember you telling me that. Yeah, I remember you telling me that. You got that weird feeling when it said, like, you're on this road for 200 miles or something. Yeah, something like that.
Which luckily, when I drove here, I drove from Pennsylvania to Utah by myself. I did it in 3 days, but I was on the phone with people the entire time. So, like, I'll enjoy just, killing time with my friends, but just, like, sitting in the car after about 15 minutes of playing the radio, I'm just like, all right, I've got to do something to occupy myself because I've got another 12 hours on this stretch of highway here. So we'll see how you really feel when you're not driving through beautiful back roads in Pennsylvania and you're just driving through the middle of nowhere in Nebraska. We'll see.
I know.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, me too. Yeah, but I know I say I like long drives, and I know. Yeah, we're gonna enter Nebraska, and then we'll switch. I'll drive, and 2 hours later, I'll say, "Are you ready to switch?"
I'm just joking, Igor. I'm not trying to say that you're gonna. No, actually, long drives suck, and you're gonna hate it. I think we're gonna
very well be right.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
I'm just kidding, but I do. Yeah, I don't hate driving by myself. I've done it plenty of times. And it's nice, like, out here in Utah where, like, everything is, I'm not used to the geography out here. So, like, when I do drive by myself, I'm still blown away by these huge mountains and stuff. But yeah, like, back home, I was just so used to taking the same trip back and forth to school that after a while, I'm like, can I teleport, please? What's happening? I'm just sitting in the car. And it's just a concrete road. I'm just seeing nothing.
Yep.
But maybe I'll change my mind too. Maybe you'll change, and maybe I'll change, and I want to add another week to the trip. And
we're
chewing on your seatbelt to get out of the car.
Yeah, we're gonna find out some things about ourselves on this week-long road trip. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, one thing I don't have to find out about myself is that I love stand-up comedy, and I say that not really meaning it. I like 5 stand-up comics. I don't sit and just listen to any new album that comes out or any new special. But I like Mark Normand, I like Joe List, I like Sam Morril. I like the Legion of Skanks guys, as I've talked about. And of course, this entire episode was devoted to my stories at Skankfest. And they're not for everybody, but I like those particular guys, and I'm sure there's more that I left off. But and we've seen a couple different stand-up shows. We've seen Mark Norman together twice. We saw Nick Mullen. We talked about that on other episodes. I'm about to sneeze, and hate sneezing. Excuse me. Thank you. And I just think, and maybe it's because I haven't seen enough concerts, or I just haven't done enough with my life, but I just think seeing stand-up live in a small club as opposed to a theater is just one of the best things in the world. For like $30 a ticket, you can get into a club. Even the worst seats are 15 feet away from the stage. And you get to see these people, like, I don't know. It's just the best. Even the open mics I've gone to of just no-name comedians, there's still jokes I remember hearing from times I've gone to, like, a Harrisburg comedy club with random people that I still remember that I just think, like, yeah, that was just the best. Or that's one of the coolest forms of art, or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's just one of the coolest things you can see live.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you've talked about Skankfest in your episode, but, like, did you get that feeling when you were there? Like, was it more big auditoriums, or did it feel small, or was it in between, or what?
No, it wasn't auditoriums at all. Yeah, it was just small. Like, there was some places that were kind of set up like a movie theater, but there was only like maybe 300 seats, and even I think the farthest back I was for any show was like for the Shane Gillis show. I was maybe 10 rows up, but like as the crow flies or whatever, like 20 or 30 feet from the stage. And just being like, and there was plenty of shows I was like second or third row where you're just there and just, no matter how tired you are, you're just laughing. And some of it is, I had noticed, like, if I was watching this on TV, I wouldn't laugh. And I don't feel like I have a gun to my head to laugh, but just seeing it live is just funny. Like, it's just funnier. It's just a better environment because you're like, oh, that guy's actually right there. And even though it might not be off the cuff, that's the act, is it seems like he's just coming up with this stuff now, and it's just funny.
Yeah. When we saw Mark Norman, like that, yeah, I think I felt the same exact way. Like, if I were to sit down and watch a comedy special on Netflix or something, like I don't think I would laugh out loud. Yeah. But like, for some reason, being there, I was laughing out loud, and I wasn't forcing it.
Yeah, and like the entire time you're laughing out loud.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know what it is, but being there and seeing it live, like right in front of you, I don't know. It's just a weird phenomenon. How I would definitely not be laughing watching it on TV, but there, it was just pure natural, or just natural. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very, I don't know, intrigued by stand-up comedy. Now, that's not hinting at anything. I'm just saying that because like you see a band but at least it's songs you have heard before. Like I don't know, like the best thing about seeing stand-up, like if you see the same comic on one tour again and again, it's not going to be as funny because you hear the same jokes. Sorry, I'm burping. If you see a band, they're playing songs you already love. And of course, there's not every single song. You'll hear songs you didn't know, but you're going there to hear the songs you like. Like, you see a stand-up hoping you don't know what he's going to say, which I think is interesting, as opposed to, like, other live stuff. Other than, like, magicians. I mean, I don't go out of my way to see magic or hypnosis or anything on stage. And I do like seeing bands live. I don't want to say that. But, yeah, I just think stand-up is, like, the coolest thing to do. And I like liking unknown guys so you can get $30 tickets. Because I saw Bill Burr. Like, when I think about, like, stand-ups that I've seen live, I always forget that I've seen Bill Burr, but it's because I saw him at Penn State in the basketball stadium, and it was like, I was just watching it on the big screen. So I'm like, I'm just watching TV of Bill Burr. So it's just not the same. Like, seeing small clubs, and the tickets don't have to be cheap. It's just a convenience. But if you can see it in a club, that's just way better. Yeah. To just have that enclosed, I don't know, just it seems more personal to just be like a stone's throw away from the man and watch them perform.
Oh, and we definitely were at the Mark.
The Mark Norman show. We're literally, our table's touching the stage. Literally, not figuratively.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't think we can possibly explain how close we were to him. Like this close. Like I could reach out and just grab his.
I know, we should have gotten our names in the paper.
Yep. But you say you love stand-up comedy, so you better be ready to do some stand-up on this road trip.
I'm getting my hour ready for the open mics if they let me do a whole hour. I usually open the show with a joke and at the monologue, and for my other podcast on This'll Only Take a Minute, I would always end with a minute of stand-up. So I think I have some stuff prepared. That doesn't mean I'm not terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. But if I do go up there, I think I'll at least have something to say. And I won't waste it all here. But best believe me, people. I'm prepared.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because I'm being dead serious. Like, I'm going to make you do it.
Me too. I think that was the thing after like, I mean, I've wanted to do stand up for 6 years. I'm just terrified. But even after going to Skankfest, it was like, because every other stand up show I'd gone to is just one guy. I mean, they have an opener and a feature, but like seeing Skankfest where it was just like literally any time a show was over, I could walk into another show that was still going on and just see stand up. I was just watching stand up 15-minute sets at a time. Literally for 3 days straight, and it just kind of took the pressure off of like, oh, I could do this. Now I know I say that. I'm not trying to say that in the sense of, oh, I could learn thinning by snail mail and then try to learn it and lose it, or not be able to. But I think at the very least I could do an open mic of stand up. Like I know I have more than 5 minutes of material. Now whether or not that is good is up to the people. But I certainly have enough to talk about.
Nice. Yeah. And when you were at Skank, like, did you just feel like at home with all that going on around?
Yeah,
you?
it was
like,
weird because I would be in line with these people that were the lowest of the low, scum of the earth people, scary looking people. But then we're just like, hey, you're going to see Joe List? Yeah, I love Joe List. I'm like, I love Joe List. I've never met anyone in my life that likes Joe List. And then this guy smoking crack with a do-rag on is going to see my best friend.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, sorry. I know what you mean. Not to take it away from you, but like that's how I
please.
But like that's
this is
like,
a bonding episode.
Yeah, like you and I went to a Phillies game once for my brother's bachelor party in Philadelphia, and when we were there, like there was a moment where they were just booing the shit out of somebody, and I was like, this is just exactly where I need to be. So again, the point is, like, I imagine we have a similar feeling when you were at Skankfest. As I felt there, like it's just like, yeah, this is where I need to be. These are my people right here.
Yeah. It's just it's a weird feeling, but I'm glad I went. Yeah, that was. They were booing. It was Philly fans booing a Phillies player. By the way, for everyone who didn't catch that at home, this is very Philadelphia.
Yep.
But no, yeah, I definitely got that feeling of like, what am I doing? I've got to try stand up. This would be the best.
Yep. Okay. So, sorry, not to we stay on this too long, but like, is there a reason why you can't, or why can't you record in like stand-up shows? Because
I know some people, yeah, they don't want you to record because they don't want you to post it and waste their material.
Okay.
That's what they say. And then, of course, if they say something offensive and you post it onto the news or whatever and they get in trouble, it's like, oh, thanks for bringing the heat on my back. It's usually like that. Or maybe the guys just suck and they're like, don't record my stand-up because I don't want people to know that I'm not good. But yeah, it's usually just like, don't waste my material, which is why, like, if you're on Instagram, you see so many people do crowd work. Like, Mark Norman will post all the clips of his crowd work because it's like, well, I'm never going to do that joke again to that specific guy. So you can use this for free to get a taste of me, but I'm not going to let you see, like, my actual set. I want you to have to pay to go see that.
That makes sense, yeah. So, like, let's say we stop somewhere and you do an open mic. Like, would you have to tell somebody? Like, would you want me to record it, I guess, would be my
probably,
first
yeah,
question.
it'd be good for the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I think we'd be allowed.
Yeah.
Or if they came up to you, they would just be like, put that away. And you'd be like, no, I'm filming it for him.
Yeah, so I was thinking, like, you probably will have to tell one of the people, like, this guy is okay to record, I guess. Like, I'm your film person. Or your camera guy, yeah.
No, yeah, that would work. And we put it on the show.
Yep. Good deal. Sounds good. I'm ready. I'm ready to hear what you got.
I'm shaking your hand, by the way.
Yes.
Wait, before you take your next turn, I have to go potty.
Okay.
This is another thing I like to do is go pee-pee. I'm back, everybody. Colin, whenever you're ready.
All right. This is the last one I had, and this one, again, very boring. But I just...
We'll make it exciting.
Okay. I guess just keeping to myself. Anything that involves keeping to myself. So, like just watching a movie.
Sorry to bring you on the show.
Yeah, I don't want to be here. But yeah, like just watching a movie or riding my bike somewhere or going on a walk. Like, I guess a good example, like when I was at college, like I would always leave like an hour early for my class so I could do the walk, and I would just find a bench somewhere and I would just sit there. I mean, this is weird probably, but I just wanted to sit there and just keep to myself. Like, I guess, yeah, that's just an example of what I like to do.
No, I feel
like,
the same way. That was one of the benefits of working 12-hour shifts is I could put in headphones and just think, or even just like earplugs. I would just have 12 hours to myself to just come up with stuff for the show or whatever, stand-up bits and all that. Stand-up bits for the podcast and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, because I talked about my first job at the marina. Like, how it was so boring sitting there. But, like, it was, but at the same time, like, that was kind of the perfect job for me. Because I literally was just sitting there, just kind of being outside, enjoying it. Like, that's the type of stuff I like to do.
Right, so, rewatching Interstellar back to back to back.
Yes, yeah. I'd probably recite that freaking movie. Yeah, but yeah, I guess that ties into why I like the long drives also. Like,
that's
just
what I was going to say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
No, I feel the same way now. Like I said, not about necessarily driving. No, I don't look down on driving. It's just a personal thing of like I don't want to be stuck somewhere, but I have no problem just laying in bed all day and just thinking and just sitting and just playing guitar. Like I have no want other than for everyone at home, I'll call Colin every time I come up with an idea. But if I'm just like sitting in my room, even if my roommates are here, people want to hang out with me, I'm just much better off of just like I much prefer to just sit here by myself and just do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. That's the nice thing about just living alone or living away from your parents or whatever and not feeling like you have to, well, we're going out to dinner tonight, so you have to come. It's just like, I'm just doing whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for me, even at work, like I'm literally just camped in my office. Like they're constant, like, I guess a good example, like one time they did like, it was like the office thing where they did like a September birthday lunch in our big room, and that involves me. Like I was one of the people we were celebrating, and I just didn't show up to it. So then I walked in after lunch. They were like, "Where were you?" I was like, "Oh, I had a thing for lunch. I couldn't be there." Yeah, I don't want to go to my birthday party. Like I'd rather
missed his own birthday party.
I didn't. Yeah, I literally didn't go to my own birthday party. That's how much I just want to be camped in my office with the doors closed, and I'm just working. Just let me
and the
work.
window cracked.
Don't throw me parties. If I had a window, I don't even have a window.
Well, that's a good answer. I don't want to step on it, but that. I don't know much else to say. I completely agree with that one. I like.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's not much. Yeah, there's not much to go on about. But yeah, that's just how I am.
One that requires me to be out and about that I like to do a lot is peeing in public. Ooh. I get a real kick out of that.
I have seen you at your best. Yeah, you're very good at doing it with nobody noticing.
I'm very discreet. You pretend to be on the phone. You pretend to be doing something else. I would usually leave bars at Penn State. The lines are too long or whatever. I would leave and I would just go in the street, pull my pecker out, and just walk, pretend to be on the phone, and then you spray it like a fire hose and you just piss on the wall. It's very simple. No one. The trick is no one's expecting for that to be what you're doing. So it's actually very easy to pee in public if you're a gentleman like myself, you and I.
One of my favorite, there's a story you should tell. When you were at a Penn State tailgate, do you know where I'm going with this? And it went down the hill.
Cornhole? Yeah. So there was a Penn State tailgate I was at. The lines for the usually at least when I drink, I don't know I have to pee until I can't hold it. Like, it'll just hit me like, oh my God, I have to piss so bad, and I can't wait. So I ran to the bathroom lines, and there's 9 porta potties, but they're all full with a line wrapping around the parking lot. And so I just grab a bottle, and I pee into the bottle. And I don't want to be rude, so I poured out the bottle of piss I had. I just poured it underneath the car, but I didn't realize that we were on a slope. So the pee just started rolling into the middle of the parking lot between the 2 cars. and there's these guys playing cornhole, and all of a sudden there's just this puddle around their feet, and the guy's going, "Is this piss? Is this piss?" And I just had to run away. And I had piss all over my pants. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm extremely good at being discreet about it. It's just something I enjoy doing, and not just drunk. All my stories are so far have been because I've been drinking, but sometimes if I'm just in the car, I had to drive Rodney, my roommate, to the airport, or pick him up from the airport. And when I got there, I didn't want to have to pay to park, so I just took loops around the parking lot and just got a McDonald's cup and just peed in it while I drove. It's easy.
Yeah. But I have a picture saved somewhere. When we went to Ocean City for our spring or for our senior trip or whatever we did in the summer, I have a picture of it, but like there's the boardwalk and then there's like the ledge before it gets to the sand.
Yeah.
And I remember you had to pee. Obviously on the boardwalk, there's a million places you could have gone to that. You could have gone to the ocean. Like you could have gone anywhere. But you wanted to show us that how like inconspicuous you could pee and nobody would notice. So the picture is just you sitting on the ledge and you're just peeing, and there's so many people walking by, nobody can even notice.
Well, there's another. I forgot I did it in the actual beach. There's another one where it was you, me, and I won't say the name, but another guy who peed in a diaper. And we were just walking around, and we were just on the curb somewhere, and there was a sewer, like, water runoff grate, and I just sat on the corner and just peed into that. So, yeah, that's all. I just enjoy I don't know. I don't think it's a perverted thing. Like, I'm not doing it because I want people to, be as, I don't know. Yeah. I just enjoy being able to pee when I want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to be able to do it and get away with it.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's funny. It is hilarious.
I guess it's my turn again. Unless any of this conversation has sparked another idea in your head that you've got something else.
No, you can keep going. Your stuff's better than mine. My
last one is I like assholes. But I'm talking personality-wise, not the body part here. Maybe this is a beautiful closing to this segment because it's going from things you liked and then people being jerks. But whatever it is, I don't know why. I just enjoy mean people. As a kid, I wasn't a fan of them. They all called me stupid and dorky and piss pants. Not very nice. But as I grew up, I learned to love this type of person that was just a mean guy right to people's face. And that's really all I have about it. But I just like that kind of person. And maybe that's why I like punk music or whatever, like I was saying earlier, just people being like, you know what, F you. I really enjoy that. And maybe it's because I have whatever pent-up aggression. Fortunately, I can get it out on the show. But I'm also, I think, regularly a nice guy. I'm polite to people. I like being nice. I like holding doors open for people. But when I do get to see people, acting that way and like making music, calling people out or doing stand-up and just pointing out like, this doesn't make sense to me. I really enjoy that. I don't know why, but I really do. I like people that are mean.
So you like people being blunt like
yes.
that? Okay. Well, I mean, not to give away where you lived, but I mean, like around close to Philadelphia. Maybe that's the Philadelphia-ish in you. I mean, who knows? Because that's how they are. Like, maybe that's where it's coming from.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I like that idea, but I think that's also why I like New York so much. I like just people being like, cut the shit, let's just get down to brass tacks. Like, I don't want to lollygag. I mean, there's definitely part of that in this show of just like, what are we doing here? Are we not going to pretend? Are we all just going to pretend like this is normal? Yeah, I like the bluntness, and maybe it is Philadelphia, maybe it is New York, because not every city's like that. Pittsburgh, I feel like, is generally very nice, other than the homeless people.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Pittsburgh in that category. Yeah, definitely Philly and New York for sure.
But like LA is not like that. Maybe Chicago's like that. People just being harsh and abrasive. I think at the very least, I just don't like the bullshit. I like just cutting straight to the core of your message or whatever. I hate seeing commercials. I saw a commercial today that was for Sky Rizzy, and the thing at the bottom of the thing said, "Do not use if allergic to Sky Rizzy." And it's just like, what do we do? Like, why is that even on the bottom? Like, do not use if allergic. I'm like, who is this for? You know what I mean? Like, I know they have to say that, but I hate that they have to say that. I hate that it's illegal not to say that, or that could get you in a lawsuit if you don't say that. I hate that sort of stuff. Just like, I don't know. I like Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't think I'm ripping off Larry David. I think the reason that show is so popular is because so many people want to say the things that he says in that show. So yeah, there's plenty of examples. I mean, this entire show basically has been devoted to that type of thing of just like, let's cut the crap here. What are we really talking about?
Yeah.
So those people really stick out to me, and I don't say look up to them, but I jealous or whatever the word is to just people, being so free-spirited about how they actually feel and just saying it directly to a person's face. Because as much as I feel that way, and I keep all those thoughts locked in, I would never actually act like that to a person.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, are you like that, like when you're at work or something? Or you just?
Yeah, I mean, only if it's like clearly a joke, and it's not like, oh, if I could play it off as a joke. It's just like, if I'm friendly enough with someone, I'll say that kind of stuff, like, hey, you're fat, hey, you're an idiot. But I would never say that to the cashier at the grocery store. It's only, if I'm like extremely close to someone. I mean, even just stupid wisecracks I made with you, like, I'll do that because I'm comfortable enough to make it clearly a joke. But secretly, with people that I don't know I'm joking, that wouldn't know that I was joking, I have to be very polite, and that drives me crazy. Because it is just like, we could save ourselves a lot of time here if we just speak honestly that this is boring. Thank you, bye. This is boring.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe you need to spend some time in New York or something. Maybe that will bring that out in you, just being in that type of environment. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if there's anything that this conversation said, I think we should take a road trip alone to New York. I'll do stand-up. I'll pee in public on the streets of the city. We'll go see a show of a famous band, and afterwards I'll do stand-up, and I'll make fun of everyone to their face, and we'll do crowd work.
Yes, and we'll stop at Goodwill afterwards.
And hopefully we can find a deviled egg tray.
Yes, in deviled eggs.
So it all comes together perfectly.
Yes, it does. We just accidentally planned the perfect road trip.
Well, is there any final remarks you have? I mean, I think that put a pretty good closing on everything.
No, not really. I will say, like, everything you said is kind of what I expected from you. I'm glad you brought all that stuff up. Because those are, admirable qualities about you. So I'm glad you brought all these things up that you mentioned.
Well, thank you, Colin. I like I said, don't get used to this, because I hope we never make another episode like this again. I like having this be the outlet of things I hate, but this episode specifically you caught me in a good mood, so I decided let's burn some of the other what's the word? Material we could use and talk about things that we actually enjoy. But yeah, I think this was a good conversation. I mean, for crying out loud, it's been going on for almost an hour now.
Oh, wow! I didn't realize that.
The people at home they've all left. But no, I think I think this was a good conversation. I think we learned a lot about each other. I think the audience learned a lot about us, and I enjoyed that. I mean, I'm joking about, I hate driving and I hate sports. I think it was nice that our answers, having not prepared them with each other, were like different. We had different answers. We weren't just sitting here being like, oh, we both like Pokemon. We both like spending time with our children. We both have our own things that we enjoy. Luckily, we do bond over the things that bother us. So that's something good. And hopefully the people at home enjoy the things that bother them, and hopefully the things we talk about in this show strikes a nerve with the people at home watching. And I think that's what makes this so fun, is finally, maybe this is a character, maybe this isn't what I act like in real life, but at least someone's finally saying, hey, let's cut the crap.
Yep.
I don't know, for crying out loud, the show just started. We're only 21 weeks in. Almost. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yep, me too. I got nothing else.
Well, thank you for joining, of course. And again, just for anyone that made it to the end of the episode, first of all, please subscribe. That's always very nice. Please subscribe. Go to the Patreon if you want. And next week's episode will be the last of this season. So enjoy next week. And then there's going to be a bit of a break. Well, Colin and I, as we've said in this episode, are going to be driving back to Pennsylvania. So I won't be able to record an episode. And then I'm going to buy some new equipment. So even though the drive's only going to take a week, I'm going to take some time to set up a new setup. But yeah, you'll still have one episode coming out next week. That should be enough to tide you over. And no, thank you, Colin, for joining. It was nice to see the other side of the both of us. And,
yes, that was fun.
I hope we can do it again. Maybe not talk about things we like, but of course you'll be back next week and weeks to come. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Colin.
Yes. Thank you. See you
Good
later.
night, everybody.